Hey guys, welcome back. This is Michael Hoskinson with Canine Control, and you are listening to Canine Convos. I am super excited you guys are here. We have been talking about aggression. And what's unique about that is everything that the VCA has told you about it is complete bullshit. And I've kind of exposed that for the last 2 or 3 episodes. But we're going to get a different take on it. You're not going to take it from Michael because who am I? We have the wonderful and lovely Linda Konrad with us. She's back. She has the second most. I know, we're going to have to do something about that. The second most popular podcast that I've done. You came in second.
Really?
You did. But you came in behind a canine officer, so.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't
he had
know
some
anything.
cool stories.
Okay.
Yeah, right. You know, bites and bloods and lots of dope.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. People loved you.
Good.
So, and all my clients were like, I like her. Oh. I like her. Have her back on. So I don't know if I've told you this before, but they called you the female Michael.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, oh, this is perfect. This is, I like her. I was like, well, I mean, and this is something I want y'all to understand. It's like, she has her own business. She's a dog trainer, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I am a dog trainer, my own business. We're not related in any way. We don't work together in any way, really. I mean, we're going to collab on some stuff, hopefully, in the future. Right. And guys, we're not fighting. We actually get along.
No, there's too many dogs out there that need our help.
I mean, it's ridiculous because I know Arlington, they say Arlington has around 40,000 dogs in it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't even do 1% of that a year. That'd be 400 dogs.
Yeah.
That would be, I mean, that's ridiculous, right? So what's cool is there's lots of dogs out there. And what's really cool about it is actually results. Mm-hmm. You are very results oriented and you get results. Your dogs that you work with change and you change lives. And that's what I'm about too. And we don't do things exactly the same. We differ in some of the stuff or techniques that we use and stuff like that. But we don't hold that against each other.
No, because if it works, it works.
Let's keep a dog in the house, not get it euthanized, right?
Yes.
Let's make it a happy family, happy dog. And that's the thing is I know from the past, I actually know some of your clients.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
It's a small world. Yeah. Actually, when you start thinking about it, it's a small world. I think you might be working with one of my clients because he wants a second opinion on his dog.
Right.
And he's already talked to me about it. We've actually had a trainer from Florida and one from Oklahoma that we've consulted with on the dog.
Okay.
So it's and I'm like,
that's exciting.
Right?
Really?
Because I am not that guy that's like, I am the end-all know-all. I'm not that guy. If I stop learning, I'm dead in the water, I think. Mm-hmm. So he actually called me and he's like, hey man, do you care if I bring her on? I'm like, no. He goes, do you want to be here? I'm like, no, I'm not going to grab her side or let her do her thing. I want to know if there's something I'm missing
I would
or something I
love
can do
to see
better.
There. Yeah.
I want to know what it is. I want to see it because I'm missing something. I can always learn something. So that's what's cool is I am always more than happy to have any trainer out there come on. Anywhere, anytime, anyhow, we talk about anything. I'm good with that. I didn't even tell Linda what we're talking about today. And you want to know why? Because I don't have to. Because I could sit down and give her a topic, any topic, and just say, hey, talk about this. And she will give you hours of content. I'm confident in that because you do this every single day. And what I talked about last week is I was talking about, all these people talk about all this science and all this science. Do you not do a case study every time you go into someone's house? You
have to.
How many case studies do you do?
I know.
Thousands. And it's ongoing. It's not like I did a 50-dog case study and then I'm just going to talk about that for the next 6 years. Mm-hmm. Every day we're in homes. We're seeing how dogs interact with each other, with the humans, and how that causes problems or how that can fix problems. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people understand that. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. We live what we preach every single day by going into these homes. We are living science as we do our job.
Correct.
And it's crazy to me. But you don't know what you're talking about. You need treats. You need
I know.
lots
Somebody
of
the other day texted me and said, how exactly do you do that? Because I had written something in a response. And I said, well, it's kind of hard to explain because, every dog is pretty much different and every human is different. Yet a lot of it is the same exact thing.
Oh my gosh. I tried to explain that same thing.
I can't tell you how to do, like, let's say a dog gets in the trash. Right. Okay, just for, I can't just go in a house and fix that because there will be other things that will pop up that will be wrong. You need to go in and start at the beginning to the end and finish it so you don't have, and how, being the owner, to take care of it.
Yes, it's a holistic approach because what people call, like, you get the same thing. People are like, my dog's aggressive. I'm like, how are you going to fix that? I was like, well, that's not what I'm going to fix.
Right.
One, your relationship sucks with your dog because your dog's running you. And you have several micro problems causing your big one. Correct. I take care of those micro problems. The big one goes away.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. People are like, huh? Well, I'm like, think about it. You don't like have like a heart issue and you're just like, well, stop eating red meat. I'm like, if the doctor told me that, I'd be like, well, I need all the little things that are going on to make sure I do everything right so it keeps going.
Yeah.
Crazy. I every day.
So what are we talking about today?
Aggression, reactivity. Oh my gosh.
Aggression versus.
Let me ask you this.
What?
Well, is there a difference between aggression and reactivity?
Absolutely.
Which is more common?
People want to say aggression, and that's like 1%, but it's not. It's reactivity.
Oh my God! I think I used less than 1%
dogs
of are aggressive
by the owner.
Yeah, and I can see an aggressive dog right away. Everybody's like, "Oh, that one's aggressive." I'm like, "That one's Those usually fall the fastest. The one that act all tough.
Let me tell you one little story before we really get into it. The last real aggressive dog that I saw, I was called in by a rescue to go do an evaluation. And it was at another trainer's house. Now, granted, they were the FF. Well, I can't really say that. They did everything, but they did involve. And it was a Belgian Malinois, okay? And I was told that I was the last chance or the dog was going to be euthanized. I get that a lot.
Yep.
So I went over there. The funniest thing was, and I say funny now because we dealt with it, but when you have a dog come out from another trainer in someone else's backyard, and I had somebody else with me, okay, and we're just standing there, and the other trainer brings the dog out with a muzzle on, with a prong collar on, and with an e-collar on a leash, and brings him out and decides to take it all off to let the dog run free. And I'm like, I looked at the person that was with me and I went, just keep an eye out. Just watch, okay? And I be aware. And I told, he was sitting down and I said, you need to stand up, okay? Because at that moment, that dog came over and went to sniff on him and bumped him.
Yep.
Okay?
Here we go.
And that's exactly what I said.
Here we go.
And I just got goosebumps. I go, here we go. You need to stand up. So the next thing I know, this dog comes over to me and he goes to sniff me and I don't let him get within my hula hoop. And I'm like,
2 foot of personal space.
I'm like, no.
My bubble.
And he backed up and he kind of looked at me. Now I have my leather leash and my collar in my hand, right? Just in case. I always take it with me.
Right.
And I have it in my hand and he ventures off. Well, now he's following her. She's walking and he's circling her. And I look over and I go, that's ownership. Because I'm telling him this. I said, this is ownership and we're in trouble.
Yep.
He goes on the other side of the pool and he is sniffing around and he looks up and he looks straight at me and he beelines as fast as he can right to me. And I had my collar in my hand, and I was able to take one step back as he went to lunge for me. And he basically just bumped me with his face because his mouth had already closed. And so that one step back kept me from getting bit.
Yep.
And I came over the top of him with that leash and collar and just smacked him. And
bonker.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And he ran off, and I told her right away, grab that dog and get him out of here. He's not coming back with me. And, she ended up begging to keep that dog. And I know now it's probably been a year and a half. And she probably still has that dog. And he's got nobody wanted him. That is a truly aggressive dog.
It is.
When they come from that far and you can see it in their eyes.
No provocation. And he's just, I'm going to bite something.
Trigger.
Yeah.
I mean, he's committed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are very few in between.
Very few.
Far
I
in between,
say
right?
there's about 1%, 2% of aggressive dogs.
I tell people that all the time too.
Truly
like, really?
aggressive.
I'm like,
and they're usually, and it's not instinctual. It's that this was a dog that they tried to use as a bite dog, and he failed. And so
Wash out, yeah.
I know. And so that's where when people contact me, and we've had this
they just start biting,
conversation when they want me to do protection dogs and stuff, I'm like, the normal human cannot handle it.
1,000%.
They can't. And so they fail the dog. And you can't stop a dog. Once you've taught them to bite, you can't just go, oh, we're not doing that anymore.
And the problem is they want to train any dog.
Yes.
And that takes a special dog to be able to handle that. It has to be a highly confident dog.
Correct.
Because then they don't have that inhibition just to go bite. Because a dog learns very quickly. The bite fixes things, solves things. I can get what I want. I do what I want. People back off. So then it goes to it. And that dog with that less of a self-confident dog starts pulling that number real quick on people. Yep, I agree. Reactive is way more common.
Yeah. And it's usually caused by the human because they're not being the leader to the dog.
I disagree.
Really? Why?
Because the VCA says.
Oh, no.
Give me pick one.
Science.
Give me pick one. These are my experts. Okay. I want you to understand. We have Ellen, we have Deborah, and I call him Big G, Gary.
Deborah. It's Deborah.
Well, I call her Deborah.
Okay.
I'm hoping she gets word of this and comes at me. Now, I want you to look at what they have that you don't have.
Right.
They have a bunch of letters behind their names.
I know.
You know what that means?
Nothing.
They're super smart.
No.
Super smart.
No.
Look.
They've just done the paperwork.
No, look. Gary has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 letters behind his name. He is at least 15% smarter than you and I.
I doubt it. Not when it comes to dogs.
Yeah, I know. Because that's why I said, how many dogs do you think he's trained?
Yeah.
0. So I said, I'd like to see his dog. I bet it's a real piece of work. All right, give me pick 2. Because this is what my experts are going to tell me. This is what they tell me, okay? One consideration is that your dog could be experiencing pain. Have your veterinarian do a thorough examination. So to preface this is what as I went through this, I'm just taking it off their website, right? There are many factors. That's what they will tell us. There are many factors of dog aggression. They term it unknown dog aggression. So people walking down the street, right? And they see a dog behind a fence or another dog coming.
Aggression.
Agreed, 1,000%, right? So many factors. The first thing they gave us was that. The dog's in pain. Now, let me ask you this. How often, because that could cause aggression, right?
No.
Well, if I have a dog that's hurt and my child lays on it.
They're going to be reactive.
Reactive to the pain.
Correct. It's not.
Right.
That's where it's such a fine line. Yes.
But let me ask you this.
But they say that.
How often do you look at that as the first line of what's going on wrong?
No.
Never. Right? I'm like, that dog better be like really, really old or something and have like some issues.
My daughter goes to Parker University that does chiropractic. And we go in, I take my dogs there to help with them training, okay? And a dog isn't, if they're in pain, they're going to react to the pain. They're not going to be aggressive. And
because
react can be different
It's
things.
like my hip hurts, so I'm going to go bite someone.
Right.
No.
That doesn't mean that.
Your kid falls off the couch and lands on them, they flinch and turn and bite.
Yeah,
right?
or a deaf dog.
Exactly.
When
you
sneak
scare
up,
them.
it doesn't mean they're aggressive. They're just reactive to the situation.
Pain. First thing they said was pain.
Yeah,
okay, right? So me too. I'm just like, really?
Very unlikely.
Because as I went through this, you'll have to watch it. Because then as they say something, I said, well, how does the treatment, how does that help pain? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, wait till you see the second one.
Oh, God.
This is good. This is my favorite. A second possibility is that the dog that triggered your dog to respond aggressively have different communication styles. All breeds do not speak the same language. Some use more signals than others. So they have 31 letters behind their names, and they just told me dogs can't talk to each other.
That's all hindbrain, which is instinct. And if you are on a walk and you have 2 dogs see each other, and you can't get your dog to pay attention to you, besides being reactive or be the leader, and that's why we use the word leave it, okay? The dog needs to come back to us, back into front brain, pay attention. They're not going to, if you're in control of your dog, they're not going to even probably look. I mean, I've literally lined dogs up and downstairs.
Don't ruin the treatment that I'm going to give them next week.
Yeah.
They're telling them about the answers.
Sorry.
We'll talk about those later.
Okay.
But can you believe they just actually said that dogs can't talk to each other? They can't read each other?
Yeah, they do. Body language is huge.
So what they want me to believe is 2 dogs can't actually communicate with each other because they have different styles. So you're saying my German Shepherd speaks German? So you speak German dog? And
they can speak 16 different languages.
And an American bully speaks American, so they can't talk to each other. No. Is that the most? This is the most ridiculous thing
that is.
I have ever in my life.
I think I've heard this before, and I just kind of giggled.
I'm like,
but so many people believe all of this.
That's why I'm bringing this up. So people are like,
sad.
It is.
Yeah.
So their reasoning for the aggression/reaction is because either the dog's in pain or they can't talk well to each other.
Yeah. No.
Is that not the absolute most insane thing in the world?
And they're supposed to be.
And they're the smart ones. And they're the smart ones. Because what's funny is it's always like, well, the first thing that I always see is I see the money grab. The first thing they're going to tell you almost on anything, take it to the vet.
Yeah.
Let the vet check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you just spent $400 for the vet to go, yep, perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
So you're having troubles. You probably should see a behavioralist, a specialist, not a trainer.
That's me, though.
It is. You have so much more experience.
Because I know the dog's brain, their mind, how they think.
So is it even possible to fix something if you don't know why it's doing it?
No.
It's absolutely positively not. That's why I always ask, I tell everybody, is like, why? If you can figure out why something is happening, you have the opportunity to fix it.
And back it up. You just back it up.
That's
I
it.
Just did this yesterday. And they're like, oh, my dog does this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, so do you see the problem? And let's back it up and get to the real cause of it.
Thank you.
And then we can work our way up. They react because of how we react.
100%.
I mean, if we are lollygagging and not paying attention and all of that, and a dog comes by and they react, if that dog hasn't been trained enough to come back into paying attention to you, then you've got no control over that dog.
Zero. That's what I call focus.
Because they're totally running off of hindbrain or instinct.
Dog. Just be dog, yeah.
It's what breed they are, what they were bred to do, and then you've got the age and the sex.
Yep.
Environment pays, that's a
100%.
lot to do with it. But people want to blame it on the dog.
Always.
And I'm like, it has nothing to do with the dog. It has that your dog doesn't know you as a leader.
100%.
Setting hierarchy in the household. That's one of the first things I do.
You have to.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has got to be in control.
Exactly.
And when the dog's acting an ass, the dog's in control.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, look at people's kids these days.
Well, I just said that yesterday because I work with all the teachers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no parenting going on.
No. It's too hard. It takes too long.
Yeah, and our
teachers
teachers can't because their hands are tied. They can't even sometimes say no. And when I go in and I train the dogs in the schools and I say, well, you know what? You have to say no to a dog.
You have to.
Yes or no, right?
Either
or
yes, I can, or no, I can't. The dog doesn't care either.
And they take that into their classrooms, and their classrooms are so much smoother.
1,000%. And that's the problem. So the way I look, the dog has these choices it looks at. And it looks at the owner. It says either you can be in control or I can be in control.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care which it is, but one of us has to be and has to do it every day.
Yep.
And then either the dog, yes, I can, or no, I can't. Either yes, I can jump and bark on your front door, or no, I can't. Mm-hmm. I just need to know which it is, and I need you to be consistent in enforcing the rule.
Right.
And that's all it takes. Mm-hmm. And it happens very, very quickly.
One of the first questions I ask people is, does your dog bark at you, lean on you, paw on you, invade your area? Does it beat you to the front door? And I said, if so, the dog's running the household.
Okay, you want to see what I say to him? I said, so what we have to fix is the nudge and bump and push and paw and leaning, running between your legs, bumping you with the butt, cutting you off when you walk, barking and answering your door, walking your head on a leash.
Yeah.
How do you know my dog does all that, Michael?
I know.
I'm like, because you're calling me because your dog doesn't act right. So those are all the micro problems causing the big problem because your dog's in 100% control.
Correct. And the second we
have never met each other. Do you guys understand this? We didn't grow up together. I grew up north. And then, but our philosophy, and it's because, how many tens of thousands of dogs have you trained?
I'm paying thousands. I mean, I've been doing this
for
too many years, too many decades.
Decades.
But it's my passion. It's because
it's got to be for what we put up with all these humans.
It just works. I mean, people ask me, why did I get started in this and all of that? But why I keep doing it is because I can't not do it.
Right.
I go places and I see stuff happen.
Yep.
And I just, people ask me. I get phone calls all day long. Mm-hmm. just wanting an answer. And I don't know these people.
No.
I've either been tagged on Facebook and they found me, or they've just looked up and they call me, and they call me at all hours of the day and night.
It's like, I don't know what hours you work, but I sleep at 2 in the
morning. And I'm
morning.
also the, somewhat vet, which I say if their bones are broken or they're bleeding to death or any of that, take them to the vet.
Right.
But if it's just, stupid stuff, just call me.
It truly is amazing how quickly people will turn to like social media for answers, or they Google it. Or
and so many people are giving the wrong information. And there's times where I just scroll by because I don't even want to get involved. But I will reach out to them and behind the scenes and tell them exactly. And they are, they're so happy to get that information. But then there's other times, here we go, I will say something, a quick fix on how to, I've dealt with this every single day.
So many times.
And I know what fixes it. And then from my show background, we show with all the vets and all the handlers. We can't, if we're out on a $30,000 to $50,000 circuit and we have a dog that comes up with a hot spot or, gets an ear infection or any of these little things, we've got to know how to fix it immediately.
Right.
Canine cough.
Right.
That's another one. And so we've got to know how to fix it immediately. Well, do you think we're going to go to a vet that we trust?
Right.
But they're not going to prescribe things for us. They're going to tell us, hey, use this because it works, or use the Listerine, or use,
Right.
And so we do that. And that's what but just the other day, I typed it out, not exactly, but told them to call me. And all these vet techs are on there. You can't say this or that, and you've got to take him to the vet. And I'm like, no, you don't.
You're a vet tech.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, and not that, we all need vet techs.
We do.
We all need them for that.
I know where
stick to your lane.
Stay in your lane. I know where my knowledge ends. And I know where I do.
Yeah.
But it is so funny too, because I get it so many times. It's like, man, Michael, I've had a couple ladies. I have a hard time watching your podcast. I'm like, why so? I said, I know the language get a little vulgar sometimes and stuff and everything. They're like, you are just too cocky. I'm like, it's not cocky. I know what I'm talking about because I do it every single day.
Right.
That's what we were just talking about. In the next 2 weeks, I'm putting on 11 new clients.
That's amazing. That's great.
Right? And the week after that's already got 3 on it. So I'm almost, there's 261 working days in a year. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a dog a day right now.
Yep.
So if I keep on that pace, I'm going to do 261 receipts, which will probably end up close to 300 dogs this year. And it's not going to slow down. Not with the economy starting to go again.
Exactly.
It's going to start picking up.
Exactly.
And that's what people, I don't think people understand. And then I'm doing the revisit, so I'm going back and seeing the people that I saw before. Every day.
And
what you say, you try to do like five visits a day?
Yeah,
max,
that's
right?
max. I usually am at about 3.
So 3, but still 3 times 5 is you are in the home and dealing with 15 different personality dogs, people, blah, 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 every single week. 52
and it wears
weeks.
You out.
Yeah, 52 weeks a year.
I stay home. And a lot of times, if people schedule, I schedule them on the weekends if it fits their schedule.
Yep.
Because I want to help out. It might be an inconvenience for me.
I see.
But I
trying to be a good person, it's like,
out.
It's aggressive. It bit something. I'm like, I got to go there and fix it before that happens again. They get rid of the dog because I know it's going to fix.
Right.
If they will just listen and do what I say, I know it's going to fix. And I got a feeling your first lessons kind of go like mine do. We're really talking a lot about aggression, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, it all has to do with it.
Right. I try to say, I want to give them that wow. Like when I leave, I want them to go, I cannot believe we got that far in 2 hours. That's crazy. How did that even happen? And it's like, I've had other trainers. I've had 3 different trainers and put like in months of work, and you got further in like 30 minutes working with my dog than they all did combined. I'm like, you just got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You just got to know what you're doing.
And it doesn't change. It's pretty much we do the same thing over and over again. It's teaching the human.
So one of my favorite sayings is the KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. That's
because
cute. I've never heard that before.
If they just relax and just keep it simple like I want them to, it's going to all work out. Mm-hmm. But people have to overcomplicate it, I think.
They overthink
And then I
everything.
think this is what this science-based shit is about. It's like, it's entirely too simple. We need to complicate it.
Right.
Because if I can complicate it and make it sound very hard and complicated, then you, the
You're a
average
better
person,
trainer.
can't do it.
Yeah.
So you need me, the specialist, to come in and fix it. And I think it's a total crock of shit.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I mean, we even talked about the one thing I hope we can collab on. I want to find a R plus trainer or a positive only trainer, and I want a video live.
Yes.
And I want to do it. I will put we will air every second of it. Every single second of it. We won't cut or edit anything. Nope. I mean, they can bring their film people. We'll bring our. I'll pay for the whole thing. I don't even care. But I want to do it so bad because I would love to see Ivan do it. I love me some Ivan.
Right. Well,
Ivan's my boy.
And that's where I was working with the directors and Emmy Award winning producers and stuff, and we were actually going to do this as a reality TV show.
It would be amazing.
I know, and we're still talking, but they're finishing up on some other stuff that we're doing.
Do it
but
on a little lower budget. We can put it on a YouTube channel.
I'll definitely bring you in on that because
I mean, I think it would even be fabulous if we just did like our training. Just bring a film crew with us, film the training. I mean, that's how Caesar did his thing. We just don't have the big money behind us to get us started. Wow. He had Oprah. We don't have Oprah.
Yeah, well.
But not losing anything there, I guess.
No, well, no.
But because it sounds all wonderful, like rainbows and butterflies, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so sweet and da-da. Mm-hmm. The dog is biting someone. I can't be sweet. Oh, he's good. But he got a little puffy fluffy. You know better.
I know.
But
I had one of my clients remark about your Fluffy. I sent him a video and I go, do you see what's going on here? Pay attention. And he wrote me back and he goes, oh my God, Fluffy.
Fluffy's a real bitch.
So that was quite funny. But that was actually a Dallas police officer.
Awesome.
And so, so he had sent that back.
I know a few of them myself.
Yeah. But, aggression that's the first word. It's that buzzword out there. And I hate buzzwords.
Yeah, me too.
I hate them. Like the separation anxiety, and the dog is, it's just, I don't do any of those. So it's explaining to them. And it's funny because I don't know where all of these new trainers, I've had a lot of people lately that have come in from the big bucks.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And they've come in and they've said, oh, my gosh, they took my dog and my dog did this and did that. And they took him for 4 to 8 weeks. And I'm like, what are they doing with these dogs? And I know.
Hunting dog.
No. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then, they've gone through 2 or 3 or 4 trainers. And then they find me and they're like,
I wish I would have found you 4 years ago.
Exactly. And I said, well, and I've never really advertised. I run a $5 one on Craigslist that I've had probably for 20 years.
Craigslist.
I know. Do you even remember Craigslist? It just automatically repeats.
Holy crap, girl.
And it's like, I don't even know why, because I don't get.
I think they only sell puppies on there anymore.
Yes. I know, and it's the funniest thing.
Don't up your game, then it
but
gets real
somebody,
busy, trust me.
It's word of mouth.
It is.
I mean, that's how.
That is what about 90% of what I do is. And because I don't sell anything, that's why I book at a very high rate. They call me. By the time they call me, their friend and their vet or their two friends have told them about me, and they're like, "Just how much and when can you get here?"
Yeah,
I don't even care.
Yeah.
Just come fix it.
Yeah,
But so aggression, reactivity. One of them they talk about is barrier, like a dog behind a fence,
right? And you open the fence, and they're perfectly fine,
right?
Wiggle, wiggle. Fence closes. Rawr, rawr, rawr.
Right. Yeah. Did you see the video where the dogs are barking at each other and they start opening the fence?
Yes.
And they slowly, then when the fence opens, they look at each other like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
So is that?
But that's in normal life.
Is that a type of aggression, or is that the trigger for the aggression?
No, that's your reactivity.
Yeah.
That's your reactivity.
Well, right. So is that reactivity?
So you've got
triggered?
Your barrier, which is your territorial. Okay, yeah. That's your territory. And when a dog, now I don't allow my dog to run fences.
No fence fighting at your house, huh?
No. And so I literally, I think it was about a year or 2 ago, I had 2 German Shepherds. One was a male, one was a female. They did not crate. And I went into their home and I watched the dogs, and I'm like, okay, get a crate for both of them. And we crated them. And the minute the male was, because they said, oh my God, the male's getting aggressive. The male's doing this. The male's doing that. He's starting fights. And I'm like, you have a bitch. You have a bitch in the mix here. And I said, she's running the show.
Always.
I said, you guys are very passive. You're not hierarchy. You're not the leaders. And I said, so she's running the show. And the reason, and another way I can tell this is if he's out of the crate and she's in, she's coming unglued.
Yeah.
Because she's bossing him from
she
inside.
Can't control it.
And
she's
he's like,
she can't control it.
So we put him out in the backyard. And what the scenario was is he goes back and their back fence is 3 other people's backyards. Okay. So there's 3 different dogs. And he just has a ball. He doesn't bark, nothing. He just runs up and down. Doesn't sniff them, nothing. He's just having a good old time. Well, she comes out.
Yep, here we go.
And gets in the way, and he bumps into her, and there's a fight. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So what we did is I took her out. They took him out, and I said we're going to make him walk, not run. And we're going to keep him in front brain, paying attention to you. The other dogs just wandered off. And they just wandered off because it was boring now.
Yes.
Okay?
It takes 2 to tango.
And so then we could let her out. And the minute that she would go over to him, we corrected.
Yep.
And we made it so and they are both the best dogs now.
It
was like one session and doing that. And I'm like, okay, but now I got to finish the rest of the sessions on you, the humans.
100%.
And teach you how to, not let them race out of the crate.
Maintain and manage that position. Or else, if you go back to your old ways, so will the dogs.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
Yep.
And they don't get that.
But they don't forget it.
I thought
the
you
dogs
trained
don't forget it.
the dog.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Dogs aren't trained. They're managed.
Yes.
If I'm not managing them, they're going to do
every
something.
single day.
Every day. Every day. And people are always like, well, why is that, Michael? I was like, well, just look at dogs. Do you think they play to have fun? Part of that is to maintain or establish a pecking order. One is winning, one is losing. And don't your dogs just play all day? They do.
Yeah. Or dog parks. You always have the bully on the playground. And if a dog, I always tell people, because now I've set up, hundreds of dog parks for cities and homeowners and apartment complexes and all that. So I go in, give them the rules, and then teach them that you have to have an area for a dog to come in and settle and take and then let them go off and, give them all the basic stuff. And so these places that have to, that's the only place you have to take, like apartment complexes.
Right, sure.
That you can take your dog out to potty. So when you always want to make sure, because if the dogs never change in that park, you're pretty much good to go. But if it's an open park and there's different dogs every single day, you need to spend at least 5-10 minutes outside.
Yes.
And watch who belongs to who, because they'll be the girl
sit their butts on the picnic table and
they don't even know what their dog's doing.
The whole time.
Or you've got the guy with the chains and the tats and all that kind of stuff, and have the big bad dog where that dog has a spike collar on and constantly runs the gateway. And so you've got to know, but if I go in and this is a trained dog, okay? Right. If I go in and I start walking the boundary, the perimeter, and I have that dog in front brain with me, paying attention to me, if there's a dog that runs up, or 2 or 3, in fact, I have videos on it, it's hilarious, and the dogs come up, I keep walking, but I turn and say, no, go to the other dog, keeping this dog moving. They go, oh, well, you're not any fun.
You're boring.
And they turn
and they go
and
find
they
something.
leave, and they never approach you again. They never approach you.
Some things are so simple. But see what I mean? I can't look big and impressive with all the letters behind my name if it's that simple.
Exactly. Well, they're not out there doing the dogs either.
They never have.
You don't ever see them out. They probably never walk their dogs.
Well, what's funny is, what's one of the tricks the vet use? Like if the vet goes into the room and the dog's growling and snarling at him and the owner's going, "It's okay,
get
puppy."
a muzzle.
What do they do before that? What did they always used to do back in the day? They just took the dog and took it out of the room, remember?
Oh,
they
right.
just walked the dog out the back door.
Right.
And they'd walk him into the other part. And I guarantee you, 99.9% of the time, as soon as that door shuts and they can't see mom or dad, the dog's like, okay, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Fluffy's fine.
Yeah, as long as they're away from mom
that
and
human.
dad. Mm-hmm.
But see, we can't let it be that simple.
No. Well, it's just like the people that carry the dogs. Okay? I mean, I was doing a filming, and where we, just like with Caesar, we go in right at the beginning, and I was doing her roommate's dog, training her roommate's dog, and she had a Chihuahua in her arms. And she goes, hi. And she knew she was on camera. And she's like, do you want to give her a kiss? And I said, no, your dog is growling at me. And she goes, oh, well, how do I do that? And I just looked at her and I said, put the damn dog down.
It's got 4 legs.
And so the minute the dog was down on the floor, perfectly fine. I could scoop that dog up and do whatever. But that's all, if we're touching, that's all praising. And so when the dog is growling and people want to know, oh, why is my dog doing that? And they're going, it's okay.
Yeah, you're saying good dog.
Yeah.
It's all the dog hears.
Exactly.
It's good dog. Keep going. You're doing a great job.
That is huge. That's huge out there.
And so if I'm like a very anti in the bed on the couch.
Right.
If I have behavioral issues. If I don't have behavioral issues, rules change.
Right.
If my dog can do it without being stupid, then you can do it.
And it's occasionally.
Agreed.
And
on
they're
my
invited.
terms. Thank you.
Yes.
It's so funny you talk about that because I had of all things, a mini poodle. And I'm telling you, she was mean as hell. And it's funny too because once I got her off that couch, she was fine.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because I was doing the lesson, got her off the couch, and I mean, she'd walk over to me, and I could like pet her on the head, and she wouldn't do anything. And it was funny because we had her off the couch, and it was about 30 minutes later. I think we might have been doing paperwork or something at the end of it. She snuck her way back up there, and she got on the very back of the couch. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I stood up to start to correct her, she fired, just went ballistic. As soon as she got down off the couch, she was like, sorry, my bad. Almost like a flip of the switch, right? It's like up here I have height and control. Down here I'm just a dog. I'll just be a dog.
Yep.
But everybody wants to baby those dogs, put them on the couch, put them on their lap, sleep into the bed, snuggly with them.
I had one lady a couple weeks ago. In fact, they're still in training with me. She has a 17-and-a-half-year-old terrier, okay? And all during her, and they're in their 80s, and their kids got them a Labrador puppy for Christmas.
I hate that.
And I'm like,
I already hate this story.
really?
I've done it myself.
And so I went in there and I'm helping, and she said the dog chews on me and jumps on me and bites me and all that. And I was worried about her because she was constantly holding this dog. When we started working the puppy, she's still holding on to this dog. And I looked at her husband and I said, I'm worried about her because when that dog dies, she's going to spiral.
Yeah.
And I said, so could you please go put that dog away somewhere in a room? And every time that dog made, once every 5 minutes, that dog did a yip. Remember, 4-second attention span, and then it's gone. But when they yipped, she was about ready to come out of her skin because she thought she needed to be over there.
Yeah, Fluffy's dying.
So once we got done training the puppy, and now the puppy's totally exhausted, and they're sitting on the couch and we're doing our chat at the end, the puppy's over laying in his bed, not his crate, but went over to the bed and was
passed out, right? Sleep.
The only question she had was, when can I go over and snuggle with that puppy? And I went, exactly what would that look like? What would that look like?
Oh my gosh, how many times I've said that.
And
how does that look? How would that look?
And so her husband just went, oh my God. And I shouldn't be talking about it, but they probably will never see this. But anyway, I said, what does that look like? Are you going to go over and lay down in that bed with that dog? What is it that you're going to do? And she just she never thought about it really.
Exactly, right? It's like,
I said, wait till the dog wakes up and then invite the puppy over to you.
You may come in my hula hoop, as you say.
Exactly. And then I said, then at that point, if you want to lay down on the floor and make out with the dog,
I don't care. If it's legal, it's legal. But in 13 states, it's not, so don't try it, lady. I don't care. I don't care. You want a belly rub?
That's why I worry about those people.
Belly rubs and booty scratches. That's what these are for.
Yeah.
And I will give them all day, every day, as much as you want to give them. I don't care if you want to snuggly, wuggly, cuddly, buddly up with your damn dog.
Yep.
Come here, sit down, and and let's get it on.
Yeah.
And when you're done, please go be a dog. Don't tell me you want more.
Exactly.
We're done. I'll call you in a little while.
Or one at a time.
I
deal with that all the time.
Absolutely. I don't
my other dogs are like sitting there. Is it my turn? Is it my turn?
I got you all.
Yeah.
I love you all. I will not forget about you.
Right.
But right now, I would like to give my love and attention to one. I don't need you guys fighting over it. You're all going to get it.
Yep.
Just calm down. Oh, yeah, I always teach that. That's one of the big things with 2-dog homes. Let's just do one at a time. We can do that, Michael? I'm like, yes, we can definitely do that.
Yes. And I personally don't even really touch the second dog. I make them everything they've learned on the first dog, the first session. You train the second dog. Do exactly the same thing.
It's a dog. Mm-hmm. They all kind of think a lot. Mm-hmm. You mean they speak the same language? Mm-hmm. They all think the same thing?
They do.
They don't. That's not what they said. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if we were to take, let's just stick with reactive dogs, because like we both concur that 1% or less of dogs are actually aggressive.
Right.
Well, let's talk real on that point.
Okay.
What do we do with a highly aggressive dog?
Well,
I know what I tell
away
people
from
to
the
do.
owner for one, because that's usually where a lot of it.
If its predisposition is to bite, and it's proven that, what do we do?
I usually will. At that point, that's a dog that I would take back to my house.
Right. So it's gonna.
Yes,
I'm with you.
It takes a lot more time.
See, this is where I tell people we have to have a grown up talk about what's going to happen.
I have to have it in an area that I know that I'm safe, that I can work the dog.
That I can work the dog. Yes,
and
I agree.
Because they're going to always run to that human because they're running that owner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a dog pack. It's going to pack up and say,
Correct.
"You're our pack. Follow me. We got to take care of this person."
And they're a lot of times completely different when you get them away.
Oh my gosh!
And that's why if a dog is aggressive and people go, the problem is now is we have too many quote unquote aggressive dogs out there.
Right.
And then it's hard to place them. Usually, because I'm stuck with like 5 of them. I could never put them in a normal home.
No.
Do I have an issue with them? Absolutely not, because I'm the leader.
I agree. I agree with that.
But I can't put them in another home because of the human.
Because, okay, so it's not a conversation I'd like to have with people, but I've told people to put their dogs down before.
Absolutely. I've put 2 dogs down, and believe it or not, they were both Old English sheepdogs that clients brought in and it was from the same breeder.
Ooh, wow.
And it was over in Lubbock. And they drove from Lubbock just to have me evaluate this dog. But it ended up being, they did a...
autopsy?
Yeah, or narco.
Whatever
it is.
We don't have the big letters after our names.
So they did that, and they found out that they did have something wrong with them.
And you know what? That is typically what we're going to find, too.
That's your hurt. That's your pain. But I mean, that's out of all the years that I've trained.
All of them, yes.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm 1,000% on board with that. What about that dog that is super difficult? Because I've had the conversation with people. This is what they're saying. I tell them, listen, you are going to have to work very hard for the rest of your time with this dog just to keep it in a position where it's safe.
Right.
So I need you to really honestly think about, is all that work worth the dog?
Right.
Because that's a hard question to have.
Quality of life for both of us.
For both of them.
Or if you have children.
Or are you going to have children?
Yes.
I mean, this is a lifetime commitment. So that is so hard to do because people are like, Michael, I feel like every time we get to a good place, the dog regresses. I'm like, because you're loosening up.
Yes.
And when you loosen up and go back to your old way, so does the dog. It's like, but it's almost like I'm not having fun with the dog because that's not what we pictured. Mm-hmm. So your dog is more work than worth in your life.
Get rid of it.
But then do we get rid of it and give somebody else a problem? Or do we?
Well, that's where the whole law thing comes in.
It is so...
Where I make sure that I'm signed off.
Right? 100%.
It has... Even though you trained under me, I am not going to...
I'm not culpable of any of that outcome.
Yeah.
That is on you. Thank you very... It's like a college course. You get out of it what you put in it.
Yep.
And that's where it ends.
Yep.
But that is hard conversations that...
I don't get many.
No,
even though I deal
no,
with the tough breeds.
Yep.
I don't get many that can't be fixed. It's usually, I'm going to say 95, 96% the human.
Yeah.
It's not the dog. And especially, you have to realize with now, 15 years ago, you couldn't find a Belgian Malinois. Okay, and that's what you couldn't find one. And so all of a sudden, there's so many, and I'm still on board with the most people don't need to have one type
1,000%.
thing. Okay, but there's so many out there that are wonderful pets because they've
Max
been
comes
washed.
out. It's a great show.
They've
We need a
been
Max.
washed out by all these breeders, and we're not breeding that edgy
quality
dog.
of dog. Our breeding goes down because they see the money in it, and then they don't want them. They're like, well, that dog washed. So now all these dogs with the half drive is in there.
Yes.
If the DNA is there, and now they end up in a civilian home.
I have herding
and it's like,
dogs.
holy shit.
Do they herd? No. They've never been around a cow. Some of them, I had labs. Some of them don't even like water. And
some of them don't even retrieve.
No, and they don't.
They're like, you dropped your ball. You might want to go pick that up. And they go the other way. Why doesn't my lab...
Or a gunshot.
Go the other way, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So, it's in every breed. You get them or you don't get them. But, I know that when I was down in Mexico, those are some really edgy dogs. And I would never own one. In fact, I have a Dutch Shepherd that I can't place her anywhere because it's not human aggressive, but she'll kill anything that comes within distance. So I'm stuck with her, or I put her down.
Yep.
So
it's just hard for people because they don't go. I don't think people. There's so much like crap out there they see on social media and stuff that it's like, oh, it's going to be fun and it's
all
easy,
the YouTube,
and you throw them a couple cookies and they're going to be the best dog ever. So people get the dog with this expectation, or they rescue, and then the dog's coming with baggage,
right?
That otherwise it wouldn't be a rescue.
Yeah, because the breeders will also screw them up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I say that because I train with a lot of breeders, and I tell them that when you go in your puppy pen, your puppies should stay the distance. Mine would wag their tail, and they'd be but they would never approach me.
No.
Okay, and that's what I taught. It's the ones that sit on the floor, and this is our human emotion, our nurturing. We want to get on the floor and let the puppy pile and let them all. Well, what are we doing? They do hierarchy between 6 weeks and 16 weeks, and we take them out smack dab in the middle.
Yep.
And all they're programmed to do is set hierarchy.
Yes.
So they come into our house and they only do what dogs can do, which is you're licking, you're pawing, you're biting, you're mouthing, you're barking. It's everything that they would naturally do. Well, it might not fit in our households, which it shouldn't.
Exactly.
But we've got to have those boundaries, those rules,
Mama Dog did
everything set up before the puppy gets there.
100%. I love people that call me and hire me before they even get the dog.
Yes.
I'm like, we're going to be okay.
Yes. And if you have a breeder that has done this, love. I deal with this with a lot of different breeds, and it's like, you guys, you're ruining it for the puppy, and you're
100%.
making it harder for that new family going in.
See, I tell people all the time, I was like, look, do you think a dog knows anything but how to be a dog?
No.
That's all they know is how to be a dog.
I say they're little aliens dropped in our world.
We can't treat them or act like they're a human and do human things with them because they look at that and go, I have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you know what I do know? I know how to bite and jump and do all that, so I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. I know how to be dominant. I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And that's how they said it.
It never ceases to amaze me that you look at how Mama Dog does her puppies, and then we pull them from that and we put them in a home, and they go from structure and correction and being told how to do things, and Mama's got her rules, to, oh my God, Fluffy, your feet smell like Fritos.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fucking shit, people.
Or the other thing is what people don't realize, and I don't know if you agree with this, but this is, from having so many puppies and being in the dog world, is that puppy that they think is the shy puppy over in the corner. It's not. It's the one that's running the pack right now, and it's telling the rest of them, go be eaten. You don't know who these people are.
I'm fine. I'm okay.
Yeah, because that is the puppy that I grab, because they're the one that I mean, they're like top dog.
Now, be careful how you say that, because if people hear this, now look.
Okay.
Because if you've got the one that's running from you, though, and trying to stay away, that's the one you don't want.
No,
right?
That's different.
But the one that's chill, and it's just like
laying over in the corner.
That's called passive dominance. I don't need to come over there and take care of business because I've got everything under control right here.
That's who's running the litter at that moment.
Oh my God! I see. I love picking dogs for people. I've got a buddy, and I'm on his third dog, and he finally was like, "I want to do something like high speed." I'm like, "Well, let's start with a puppy then. Let's not go rescue.
Right.
So it's going to be easier on you."
Yeah.
Right. So he takes me and I've actually used this lady. Breeds German Shepherds over in Garland, I think. But I've now trained like 5 or 6 of her dogs. Very, very solid dogs.
Nice.
And it's funny. So I said, all right, let's go in there. And when we go in and pick, what I want you to do is to pick the one you want. And then I'm going to tell you which one to get. And it is so funny. We went in and I mean within 5 minutes.
And it's probably completely opposite.
Within 5 minutes, he's like, all right, I know. And I'm like, all right, give me about another 20 minutes and I'll tell you which one I'm going to take. So I'm doing some stuff with them and messing with them and stuff, moving them and taking them away and putting them back together and double checking, making sure I read that right, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, which one do you want? He goes, that one. I go, that's the first one I got rid of. He goes, no, that's the best one. I'm like, no, that's the first one I DQ'd. He goes, are you kidding me? I was like, no, you want that one right there. He goes, no, that's the one I don't want.
Yes. Yeah.
He goes, why is it? No, that one doesn't have any. It seems like it's lazy.
That's
It
just
doesn't
like
have
going
any
to the
life.
horse races and
Right?
betting on the horse. Oh, I'm betting on the gray one.
Right? I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. And what's funny is I think by like 8 months old, that dog's 100% off leash controllable with his 9-year-old daughter. Anywhere, anytime. And he was like, all right, so you know what you're doing. I was like, you can't. I hear it so many times. Well, she picked me. I'm like, oh, great. We're going to have a fucking hard time with this dog, aren't we?
Or they let the kids pick. That's the nightmare, is when they let the kids pick the puppy.
Oh, he kissed me all over the face. It was jumping on me. So cute.
Oh, no. Or, I mean, I get all different ages, and you can basically take care of a different dog.
Yeah.
And like these people that got the lab, I'll settle her down, but she was from a working line,
oh my God.
And I'm like,
man, it's like,
I feel really bad for the puppy.
Right? And this is what's funny, because I know this is already true, is like you can walk in and look at the dog and go, oh, fuck, that's a working line. Right? You're like, oh, we are so screwed on this deal. I do it all the time. Wrong family. How many times do you hear well, Michael, this was our last dog. We've always wanted a Rottweiler. I'm like, dude, you're on a walker, and you just got a 130-pound Rottweiler?
Exactly. And I actually have a client like that. And the dog's perfect with me because she knows. How she is like, because I board her all the time.
How frustrated your clients get when you walk in and the dog goes against his kennel and is like, we're good.
Yeah. Well, and then when I bring her home and she wants to start pulling to run to mom and dad, and I go, this is not love.
Yeah.
This is not love.
Oh, she's scared of you.
It's not love. I said, it's because she can run you.
Path of least resistance.
And she wants to get over
it's
there.
It's like getting to grandma's house, and I can do anything I want. Nobody's going to tell me no.
And she runs right in the house, and she runs right to her crate.
Yep. It's absolutely insane. And I think the biggest thing, so like when I deal with let's just on walks and stuff with reactive dogs, a couple things that I always can almost guarantee every time. One, I'll see if you agree with this or not, or how you feel about it, because this is the other one I know you're going to go, oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing I look at is I can almost promise you that dog is not very confident as its personality.
Right.
It's lacking some confidence, so it's overreacting to everything.
And people say they're scared. And I go, no, a dog is not scared. They're unsure.
They are unsure. Yes, that's a very good word too.
They have a 4-second attention span, and they can't hold all that. They don't have a past, don't have a future.
Right.
They live in the moment.
Right.
They're dealing with what's happening right there. Scared is now granted. If they were beat with a bat that's all their recognition.
Right.
Okay, they recognize the hat,
History,
but they don't know why. They
Exactly.
can't put that picture. And so we're the ones that duplicate all that stuff
100%.
all the time.
100%.
And so I just say, well, we're going to work with your dog, just like, for instance, yesterday. Oh, well, she's scared of the crate. And I go, okay, I don't care how you do it when I get there, but have your dog in the crate. I don't care. But at this point, afterwards, these are the rules on how you get that dog in and out. And I can guarantee you the first time I get that dog out on a wait with the door wide open and me on the other side of the room,
house, yes,
that dog is going to stay. And I will be able to get that dog out, turn it around, and tell it,
right back in there.
And it will be as happy as can be going
right in there.
And everybody wants the big, especially when you deal with the breeds that I do, they want all those big impact crates and they want and the anxiety crates. And I said,
the lion crates, the lion kennels,
your dog should be able to be anywhere and be settled.
Yes.
It's because you did not train correctly.
100%.
I mean, I get them all the time. Well, my dog never crate. Well, it will have learned by the time you get back from boarding.
I tell them, give me a list of goals, right? And they're like, I would really like to go to this kennel and be comfortable there. And I'm like, when I start working with it, after I talk to them, I do a little 30-minute talk about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. And then I'm like, go shut the kennel. Why? Because the dog's going to end up in that kennel in about 2 minutes because it's going to be like, I don't know, but I'm going in there. I never get in trouble for going in there.
Yeah, that's their safe space. That's denning. It's instinct. So, yeah.
Okay, good. We're in agreement on that.
Yep.
So the other one, I have never in my life been on a walk in public and seen a reactive dog that's in a proper heel.
Oh, correct. Oh, my gosh. That is so true.
Right?
It's so true.
It's like simple when you think about it. It's like...
they're way out in front or behind or...
Anywhere they want to be?
Even at Home Depot. If people aren't paying attention to their dog and they take it in, I will not take an untrained dog in Home Depot.
Hell no. That's how I get kicked out. I need that for a training facility. Yeah, so my dogs are very good.
I used to I ran one of the Home Depots in Arizona.
Really?
And I worked for the corporate and I trained. And so I asked them, I said, can I bring trained dogs in? Because I was doing service dogs too. Nice, and they're like, absolutely. Now, it's per store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they all have it stated on the door.
Trust
no dogs
me,
allowed.
I've been kicked out, and it's because I go back to corporate and I go, what's the deal? And they're like, well, they don't like dogs. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
They don't like dogs.
And
other trainers have ruined it for us.
There's where it goes.
They've ruined
people keep
it
their
for
stupid
us.
dogs in there. It's barking and pulling and yapping and scaring people and complaining.
I mean, I've literally gone on, very rarely do I go in without my shirt on that says who I am.
Right.
And I did this a couple years ago, and there was a company that's local, and they had 2 great big huge bully breeds in a downstay with the e-collar and the prong collar on it, and this was the middle of winter. It was like 20-some degrees out, and I happened to walk by them, and they were standing away, and the dogs were laying down and panting. I mean, they were drooling. And I looked, and I go, what's wrong with the dogs? And they go, oh, nothing. They're in a downstay. And I said, no, they're stressed.
Stressing hard.
They are totally stressed out. I said, these dogs can have a heart attack in a quick second with you stressing them that much. Oh, no, we're so-and-so. And I go...
That explains a lot.
And I turned around, I looked at them, and I go, well... I'm Linda from Good Canine. And they looked at me and they just went white. Obviously, they knew who I was. And I'm like, you know what? When you guys want to learn how to train the right way, I said, here's my card. You contact me. And, that would be great. You know, I've never heard from them.
Of course not.
What
I've never understood is...
But those were somebody's dogs. Those were somebody's pets. Right. And they were doing this to them. And they're going to train the human, the owner, to do exactly
the same thing.
And they're never going to, even if they're good at their timing. Normal humans are not.
No.
We are off, and and that's where a dog
humans suck.
They're 4 to 6 seconds behind.
We do it every single day, all day. We have done that correction or that stop that a million times.
And that's the only reason why I don't do e-collar on pet dogs or whatever is because I know that the human is going to be really bad.
So what I've never understood, like I was going to say, is the prong and the E at the same time. Never understood that. Why do you need both?
Yeah.
So I am not an and I use both. I have never. The reason I use prong collars, I find that it makes it easier, especially for my older or smaller women to control bigger dogs.
Okay.
Less correction.
Okay.
They feel safer.
I would love to prove you wrong.
I would love to do it. I would love to do it. I'll do it. It sounds like
No,
fun.
serious. I mean, this is why we kind of matched up together.
Absolutely.
And I mean, sometimes it works for you. I mean, it works for me 100%.
Right.
I've had prong collars fall apart because somebody hasn't done it right.
And then I run mine completely different too. I get so much shit from everybody in the industry. You don't even know how to put the fucking collar on, Michael. It's like I'm not. This is not an attack dog, dude.
Right.
I do not need any pressure on the most sensitive part of the dog's neck. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Correct.
It needs a little correction. It's going to settle down. It's fine. And see, I don't e-collar train. So I am not an e-collar trainer, but I use them. And the only time I use them is if my clients want to go 100% off leash. Because I don't think...
But I do 100% off leash, and I don't have any collars on my dogs. But...
You're a better trainer than I am.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for the owner is that it's every single day. It's something every single day. Training never ends.
It doesn't.
And if you want that,
you can definitely.
You have to work for it.
And what I have found is I have got to give them the easiest, quickest way of doing it, or they won't stay with it.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate about the human.
That's true.
To me, because I'm with you 100%. I've had, I mean, back in the day when I was coming up, dogs didn't run on, my attack dogs did not run on e-collar.
Right.
They were 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a slip lead on them. I've hung a dog or two to get them off something.
Yep.
But there was, and I could send that dog. He is 35 mile an hour, about ready to hit some oust, and that thing would hit his butt so hard and turn around and come back to me. Mm-hmm. And I had 100% control of the dog. Mm-hmm. But we trained every single day.
But that's also those types of dogs and what you're doing sporting-wise. Anybody just walking their dog. I mean, this happened just a few months ago to a friend of mine. She lives at White Rock Lake, and she was walking her dog on leash, and somebody else was walking their dog on an e-collar, and the battery failed or whatever it was, and that dog came over and almost killed her dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's why we can't depend on those types of things. And so, I mean, a lot of my friends do e-collars, and I always tease with them.
Right.
And I said, well, they're, walking along without but they always have to have that remote. And there's a new thing that was just out. It's a new toy of some sort, a new tool, and it's almost like a taser, but it's,
for dogs or humans?
Yes, for dogs. That I'll have to send it to you when I find it. It's so ridiculous.
So see, what's funny is it's all about a process and getting the human on board with the process and doing it the same way every time, right? And having that repetition so they're consistent with their dog.
Yep.
So body language, verbal or tone, and then I go to correction. Just like a dog. Like a dog snaps. They get big, they growl, they snap, they fight. That's going to be their cycle of communication.
There's always a process.
Boom, 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 boom.
They never
boom,
just
boom, boom,
do
boom.
it.
So my process I teach my clients is body language. When I'm correcting the dog, I have to be big. When I do recall or something, I go small. Mm-hmm. I use no as my correction word, but I tone it. I don't no fluffy. No fluffy.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly. Tone.
It's tone. They get the tone, right? And then if they don't respond, they get a correction. So that's when I would check them with the pinch collar.
Yeah.
And then I do some other stupid stuff off leash in the house. But it follows that pattern. Boom, 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 boom. So the dog very quickly after the first lesson learns, when I hear no, there's about to be a consequence that's going to happen.
Right.
And if I don't comply, the consequence comes out.
Right.
So very quickly, dogs are super
smart.
Or
do you praise them after each one?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So every interaction ends with praise.
Correct.
Because
they have to know what's right or wrong.
The dog knows, now I'm doing good. That was bad. I'm still in the pack. Everything is fine. That made Dad happy.
But so huge.
Praise comes from above, the alpha saying you're doing a great job, not from the submissive dog you've been running. Oh, you're such a good dog. Flip. Like, no shit, I just scared the mailman away again.
Single words.
Good. Yes.
And the tone.
And the dog's like, oh my gosh, you're so happy with me. But it ends the correction, right?
Correct.
So when I use e-collar, the dog understands body language, tone, consequence. I only have two. Until I go to e-collar. And then nothing changes with anything I do except consequence.
Right.
So it's easy for the dog. The dog's like, nothing changed except now you're, you can control me at 50 yards? Okay, I'll listen to 50 yards.
Right.
We don't use them all day. They stay in the people's pockets most of the time.
exactly.
Because that's my thing is if
Which,
you're using it all the
that's why
time,
I said
you're fucking it up.
train differently
Yeah.
than a lot of people, and they'll snap. I had one, I don't know if I told you this before, but I went to it was Home Depot or Lowe's, and I was just shopping, and I see this guy with an 8-week-old Frenchie puppy, has the prong collar and the e-collar on it, and he's doing this. Sit. And the dog sat, and he starts backing up. Stay, 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 and he's videoing. And he probably said it 12 times. And I was like right behind him at that point, and I go, quit repeating yourself.
He fucking heard you.
And that dog was tilting because there was so much
weight on his neck
that he was about ready to fall over. And that puppy was just like staring at him. And I said, that's just cruel. That's just way too much equipment on that puppy.
It's a puppy.
He was like little. And I just turned around and walked off.
Mr. Producer, how far over are we?
Oh, are we?
We're a little over. That's okay.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Oh, we could do like a Joe Rogan to go for like 3 hours, right? We'd be like, bring some hamburgers and pizza in. We're going to keep going.
There you go.
Yeah, it's crazy what you see so early. And again, why at 8 weeks are we in Home Depot?
Oh, I know.
Why at 10 weeks? Why at 12 weeks?
No.
I mean, yeah, my philosophy is I teach everything at home while the dog doesn't have it shot, so we have to stay at home. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
I have sit, stay,
It's in
heel.
the confined. Yeah. You've got to have something go right and correct all the time.
If I can't control you in the house, why am I going to do it outside the house?
Exactly.
So
I just told the lady yesterday on that. That's it.
The dog
I
has
said,
to
no more
trust.
walks.
No
more walks. And that's another thing that just irritates me.
They do.
They walk and walk and walk and walk and walk, these dogs. I have a guy, love him dearly. His wife, his family have known him for years. This is their, I don't know, 4th or 5th sheepdog. 2-year-old. He's on joint medication. And I went, what? I said, what are you doing? And the wife goes, well, he walks him 6 miles every day. And I go, you guys, quit walking your dogs. Just learn to settle your dogs. They do not need a sheepdog out in the backyard. They live in this humongous house. I said, that's enough walking for him.
Your dog runs up and down the fence line a couple times. It did wind sprints. And I tell people that,
I
just
ACLs.
said it today.
I just had 3 people come up with ACL tears. And I'm like, well, crate your dog for 4 to 6 months, even before, because it might heal. But I said, you guys are just going out and throwing the ball. They need to warm up. They need certain dogs.
Just because they could go from 0 to 100 doesn't mean we should.
I mean, my dog loves the Frisbee, but I can't just take it out and throw it.
Right.
Because she'll hurt herself.
See, that's why I tell people, don't let your dogs chase the squirrels. Don't let them chase them, because that's how they blow their ACLs, trying to catch up with them damn squirrels.
Yep. It's that push off.
But it's funny how many people think that they walk fast enough to cardiovascularly exercise their dog.
No.
We go 6 miles a day, twice a day, Michael. I'm like, I don't care.
I told the lady yesterday,
I
have the little teeny terrier. Oh, well, I take her through the subdivision, blah, blah, blah. And I go, what? No.
Dog doesn't
and I
know how
said,
to
and
walk.
then you have him out in front of you and you're letting him mark everywhere.
Yep.
It teaches a dog to mark.
Yep.
Do not do that.
Yep.
Pee before you leave.
Yep.
Pee after you get
Thank
back.
you. That's what I say. We're healing. We're walking.
Yes.
We're not going on you don't believe in the sniff walk?
No. I said, if you want to go somewhere to the park and free your dog and let them do that.
There you say,
that's
I was like,
when you can do it.
Get you a 6-foot lead. Don't throw your retractable away. You can keep it.
Oh, God.
Because
I
then
don't let them.
Because what I do is I let them get to like a green area, like an open area.
Yeah.
On the middle of their walk.
Yeah.
I like switch them over, give them a free.
Oh.
Let your dog run around, be a dog in the free
now,
area. If
I
it wants
usually
to
will do
go
a
to the
long
bathroom
line.
But that's not I use
but the retractables, I tell them, the only time I'm going to let you have a retractable is if you have an overhang on the back of your house and it's pouring down rain and you want your dog to go pee. Because then you can get them back and you don't have to go out there and get wet.
Right. But that's the only reason I use them for.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of my people.
I have scars.
Oh, they are bad about that.
I have scars. My daughter, me.
I don't let my dog. My dogs don't go out and go for walks until they know how to walk.
Yeah, exactly.
So the lesson I did just before I came here, the first 2 weeks, all he did was practice that heel in the house backyard, in the house backyard, establish it, make it a routine, run the repetition so the dog knows. And I have mine's weird. I do 3 or 4 steps, stop and sit, 3 or 4 steps, stop and sit, 3 or 4 steps. I want that dog constantly building focus on the human, building.
Right.
So then when I go out, because he has a very reactive shepherd.
Okay.
So when it sees another dog, I mean, it loses its shit.
Right.
Right. So I'm like, well, let's go. We're going outside. He's like, oh, out in the front. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah.
And he gets to the door, and as soon as he opens the door, I was like, nope, stop. What? The dog's going to beat you out the door.
Yeah.
Which means it's the dog's walk now.
Yeah.
You lose, dude. You're
Yeah.
second place. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, give me the dog. This is what we're going to make it look like. Because he's like very much, just show me. I'm like, all right. So I get him out there. I'm doing my stop and sit. By the time I get to the end of the driveway, the dog's just like this. And he's already fallen back to a heel. Mm-hmm. He's walking 6 inches behind me just like this. Just checking and then back on me.
Yep.
And no sooner than that happened, dog in the window next door. And the dog just sits there and looks at me.
Yeah.
I told him no one time, and the dog was like,
like
no,
I say it, where you say focus, I said, that's front brain. They're paying attention, and you've got them, but you only have them for 4 seconds.
You better,
and
you got to keep refocusing
yep.
or re-engaging with them to get them to come back, because they'll sit there and do this, and they're like, what? And they'll do this? And that's why it wears them the shit out, because you keep them in front brain for so long that they're like,
I had a standard
hard.
Poodle last night that we did the downs and the stays. And he warmed him up because I make him start at the beginning. And he warmed him up, and we did all of it. And then we taught him the downs, and then I taught him the stays. During the stay, he didn't even get all the way through the stay. And he was passed out. And I said, it was 10 minutes, pretty much.
It is.
And I said,
I have homework is 5 minute sessions.
We have to hurry up and get through your warm up so we can keep adding.
Yes.
Okay. And I said, so I guess we do the stays next week. We're actually going to Home Depot with that dog.
I do it.
Like,
it happens all the time. When I get the younger dogs especially,
Mm-hmm.
they're just passed out in the corner, sound
Puppies.
asleep. They're like, my God, it's usually so hyper, running around controlling everything all night. And now we just worked its brain. It is exhausted.
So that's
it
when
never
I
has
tell
to
him,
think.
anytime.
See, I call it reactive versus focusing.
Right.
It's reactive. It's being a dog.
And there were the, after we worked the dog and he was in his crate, I said, what's the worst thing that he does during the day? She says, oh my gosh, if our guys come over and do the lawn any of that. He laid in there and he looked up and he saw him with the blowers.
He put his head back down.
And he put his head back down and went back to sleep. She goes,
this is worth every penny right here, just this one thing, right?
What I've paid for, this is what And so I'm like, oh, there's so much more. You're going to have so much more fun.
And the relationship just grows and grows.
Yeah, because she goes,
I
I only got him 2 weeks ago. I don't want to get rid of him.
Right.
And I said, then you have to learn.
Yeah, I just did a Mal up in, it was up north of Plano. But that thing, it had paw prints and nose prints at the top of the glass door. And I take another video. It's like, I've been there 45 minutes, go up, ring the doorbell, beat on the door. Dog doesn't even come to the door anymore.
Desensitizing.
We're done.
Yeah.
The dog's like, well, it's mom's job, not mine. Handle it. I mean, we really ran it 3 times, and the dog was like, I'll just stay back here. Handle it, Mom.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Well, when we know
if you have the knowledge.
Yes.
And that's, I think, what people need to do is I tell people, you need to look at your trainer and don't go these days there's information.
Right.
If we can't find information on somebody this day and age, then there's something wrong, right?
Correct.
So do they have a longevity of training? Not 3 or 4 years is not longevity.
No, they're still wet behind the ears.
Oh, extremely. I'm saying, do you have 15, 16, 17 years?
I trained 11 dogs and 6 of them have been mine.
I've trained my friends' dogs my whole life. I get so tired of hearing that shit.
I know. And I feel bad for them because it's not... Even the people that work for the big box, okay?
Right.
Where they have to go get their certificate. And I'm like, okay, you realize that all that certificate is going to get you is a $12.50 a job.
Yeah, there you go.
Job,
there you go.
And I said, but when you learn the right way how to train, it's open. I said, it's open to whatever you want to make if you put it in. But I said, the problem is when you're working for these big bucks or when you're working for these trainers that I always just say you become the sheep.
You do.
Okay, and you're just
that's
following.
Yep.
And that's where there's so many of them out there.
Yes.
And I said, I never want to disregard you as a human or anything because it's not your fault.
Agreed.
It's what you're being taught. It's marketing. It's what's being shoved down you.
Yeah,
it's
you're
all of
brainwashing
that.
you about it. Yeah.
And so,
and that's the thing is if they haven't, but see, their go-to is always medication. If they can't fix it, their things doesn't work. It's medication, and I can count on one hand how many dogs
Yeah.
One that I can think of in 15 years that I was like, well, that dog might need a little medication. I don't know. I might have laid on it a little long when it was born, or it got stuck in the canal a little long or something.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary. No. But knowledge, and you don't gain knowledge in this industry in 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7. You have to be around it.
You can't have trained
enough dogs
that many
to see it, right? So that's why I tell people, I was like, you don't have to use me. You don't have to use you. Go, but be smart about it. If I go to someone's Facebook page and they got more pictures of political stuff or polar bears swimming in the water than they do of clients that have had success, I don't care if I see you work a dog. You're a dog trainer. I would fucking hope you could train a dog and make it heal.
Right.
So let me see the humans. Let me see your clients.
Yes.
My Facebook page has, I don't know, I'm close to 1,500 videos on it.
That's great.
And they're not. There might be 3 of me.
Yeah.
It's all people that I have trained.
Because we know what we're doing.
I don't have a big head. I don't need to be like, oh, look at me train that dog. Look what I did.
And that's what I tell, because people will email me or text me and they'll go, well, where are you training these dogs? And I go, do you not go into my videos or my photos? Or, I'm there. Well, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm training them, but it's up to, I leave. I need the human to be able to train them.
Right, it does me no good if I can do it. And people are like, well, can you give me, and I hate this, it's like, can you just come out and visit with me and meet my dog and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I really don't need to.
No, exactly.
And I was like, I know what I'm getting into already. You are not going to fake me. Well, it was like, A, B, and C came out and they brought their dog and did a demo with their dog. I'm like, well, no shit. Do you think I'm going to bring a dog that can't do like everything out to impress you?
Yeah.
I said, it's the trainer doing it. It's his dog. It's not, that does not impress me much.
It doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do it with your dog.
Do they have client success? Not I don't care what they can do.
Right.
Can their clients do it? Because at the end of the day, that's all I care about.
Exactly.
Can the human provide that for their dog to have the best relationship with their dog?
Yep.
That's why I went from working dog to civilian, is because most people don't know what a real relationship you have with a canine dog, a unit, a canine unit.
Oh, it's
the officer.
Nothing.
It is totally different than what anybody could ever experience.
Yep.
But you can have that same sort of relationship with the dog if you know what you're looking for and how to get there.
Yep.
And I don't think enough people give the roadmap to get there. So I tell people, it's like, listen, I can fix anything. You're not going to surprise me and go, well, my dog did this. I was like, no shit, I've seen that a million times.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I can answer a lot of stuff on the phone on the phone.
Yes. I've seen
and I'm
this so many times.
There's certain things that you need to be there to fix it.
Exactly.
But there's a lot, I can give them the reason why.
Exactly. And I find that's why I love you. It's because why. If we know the why, if you truly understand the why, you can fix the problem. Mm-hmm. And the problems are fixable. And people just need to understand that. The quick fixes are there if they're done right. But it takes maintenance on the far side of that.
Correct.
I can fix a lot of things very quickly. That doesn't mean you're going to have that same success.
Right.
That means now you know
that's
your dog
now
is
our job
capable.
Is to teach them.
And now, that's why my tagline for my company is human training on the dog's behalf. Mm-hmm. Now that you see what your dog is truly capable of, because I took it and showed you, now let's get you. Now we're on board? Good. Now here, I need you to do this. I need you to do it this way. I need you to hold your leash this way.
And I tell him,
you
have to do it exactly like I
say,
tell
channel
you.
your inner Michael. I know this might be scary for you. I look at the moms. I go, I know this might be a little nasty and icky, but channel your inner Michael and do that back.
Yeah.
Or if not, I tell them, like, they have that female, that older female that just runs the other dog. Mm-hmm. I'm like, channel Fluffy.
Yeah.
Fluffy is keeping that dog in line. Channel your inner Fluffy
a lot of soft
and give it back.
Women right now that have a terrible time of saying no.
Yeah.
And then their husbands are coming unglued over there. And I go, okay, you need to take some of that and move it over to her because you're out of control.
And on the other side of it, you need to take some of her and move it over there, right?
Exactly.
You guys need to come in the middle.
And I said, you're way too hard on that dog.
Yes.
And I said, and she's like, no.
And you're way too soft. So the dog is like caught in this tornado.
And you can see it the minute 100%. That each one of them had it. He's all over her, and this dog is like
he shuts down. Totally shuts down with dad.
It's so funny to watch.
How many times do you get the dad goes, I really don't know why we're having to do training. The dog's pretty good for me.
Right. Well.
Right, all the time. And so my favorite thing to do with those guys
the hierarchy.
Is I start to do the walking, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll show mom and I'll set her up with the leash and stuff, tell her what she needs to do and how she needs to stand and tone and all that. And I'll teach her and coach her. And the husband's like over there, hey, no, do this. He said do this, right?
I turn around and go.
No, watch. This is how I do it,
yeah.
right? I don't do anything with him. I just go over there and hand him the leash. I go, all right, your turn. And I walk off. And by the time I turn back, I get about 10 feet away and turn around, and he's still holding the leash like, all right, how was I supposed to hold you? Oh, so now you need some help there, big guy. And see, I won't coach him. I'm like, put your hand here, put your hand, go. 3 steps, stop and sit the dog. I was like, nope, dog won. It got in front of me. Right?
Oh, I
and
know.
men are like,
and then even
within 45 seconds, he's like, all right, fuck, show me.
Even with me trying to teach them how to put the collar on right with my chain, and they fumble and fumble and fumble. And or they don't, when I tell them do a right about turn, do a left about turn, and they do the opposite.
I'm like, you're other
and I go,
right.
Yes.
Nice try,
and
smart
it's
guy.
always the guys.
It is.
It's always the guys.
It's good stuff.
So.
Well, men are like dogs. We have a little bit of a, kind of like Fluffy.
Yeah.
I can't tell us anything.
That's funny.
So find a good trainer that has a
history behind them. Yes.
Of that. You're going to have a far better success rate. I'm a big believer in in-home. I think because right there, one-on-one, seeing it, being in the thick of it, understanding it for what it is, I see the why better.
I mean, group classes are fine, but you're not going to get what you need.
To mine. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What
It
you
all starts
need
at home.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? It all starts at home. If you don't have a good relationship at home,
I mean, when I do the fosters and, that type of thing, those are all group, but they're pulling dogs out of
it's different.
A pen and
right.
Just taking them out to potty can be a lifesaver for a dog because you teach them not to fence fight with everybody and you teach control.
Yep.
And that dog is more likely to go out and stay in a home than to come back in a couple of days.
That's my good shepherd people. I've got 3 or 4 ladies.
You know Claudia?
I don't know if I know Claudia.
Okay.
I have 3 or 4 of them that are my clients.
Okay.
Do you know Michelle? She's been
probably, or they know who I am.
Michelle, dog bark. Michelle, she rehomes about 18 to 20 dogs a year.
Yeah.
And she puts them on my system, trains them up, and then gets them in homes.
Yeah.
So they go out and they do their adoption things, and she's out there, dog's healing with a leash in her pocket, sitting and doing perfect.
That's perfect.
And her dog's just, so it's pretty cool. But all right, we're way overdue. But man, when you coming back?
I know. We need to get together.
I'm telling you, we just got to get together.
I can't wait to come to one of your classes and watch.
Well, it'll be fun, right? You'll be able to see Michael being a real ass to people. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I've never opened one up to the public before.
Well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm there. Because I want to meet the other clients.
Right.
I want to meet them there, and I want to see them working with you because I have to know the history behind what's going on, what they've already learned, what the dog's doing, all of that kind of stuff. So
it's gonna be interesting. So eventually the weather pans out and my schedule slows down, we'll be able to do it. So, but
that's great,
guys. Thanks for watching. Remember, you got to find a quality trainer, not one of these box trainers that learned this stuff because they got a certificate offline. They got to have history. They got to have they have to have a book of proof to show you of quality work that they've done with dogs. Your dog is fixable. There's nothing wrong with your dog. There's nothing wrong with you. You have the ability to do it. You just have to take a minute to search out the right trainer that's going to be able to give you the knowledge and know-how to be able to do it and be successful. And I hope you guys see and understand that it's not just Michael. There is a ton of trainers out there, and we've all kind of silenced ourselves and kind of taken a step back, and we don't speak up a lot and fight for what we believe in so much on social media like the R+ trainers and the PP trainers do. So I want you to understand that's why I'm doing this. I'm just going to give you information. Like I said, I'm going to bring scorched earth to the VCA and what they're telling you guys because I think it's total bunk. It's bullshit. It's not going to help you. It's not going to fix problems. You're not going to be successful. You're going to end up drugging your dog and then getting rid of your dog, and then we are going to have to try to go back and fix all that. The only reason 13,000 dogs a year are surrendered to the Dallas Pound, that's one city in this United States. 98% of those dogs are put down. And I'm telling you, 98% of those dogs can be easily fixed with the right approach. Mm-hmm. And I want you guys to know that. It's true as I sit here. I will put that on the line against any trainer, anytime, anywhere. But you know the rules. Get out there, work your dog, establish a relationship. Let your dog know that you can handle it. You are in control. Have fun with your dog. Make it entertaining for your dog. But you got to get out there and work the dog and be the one in control. Guys, thanks again for watching. Make sure you share this and pass it on. Next week, it's going to be fun because I'm going to break it down all the way. The why, the true why, which we talked about a little bit here, and then the approach that I take to fix it. And the week after that, there's actually going to be a whole hour of a guy that went through the process, 8 weeks of it, and how his dog went from trying to attack me 3 times on the first time I was there to at Thanksgiving, his grandkids were back in the house, belly petting the dog, loving the dog, and the dog is 1,000% fine. So get out there, work your dogs, have fun. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Michael Hoskinson. This is Linda Konrad, the one and only legend in North Texas. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.